Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hip Horse. Tommy D, Johnny Lowe, we're on the Derby Trail, baby. We are on episode number 7. Thanks for following us, and if you're new, hit that like, subscribe. I got my man Johnny following the pedigrees. We are on the Derby Trail, and we got 3 big races, Johnny, this weekend. We're going to do a quick recap and then get right at it. So how we doing, my friend?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. Huge weekend this weekend. Derby Trail, really nice races. There's also a nice grade 1 mile-and-a-quarter race at Santa Anita. Maxfield's coming out for that. That should be an interesting race. But really looking into it right now, this is kind of the last of the mile-and-a-16th races, and we're about to really get into it here from here on out.
Yeah, Johnny. I mean, we've been taking a good look at the trail, and it's good. The picture's getting a little bit clearer each week. We're getting into some big races here. Some 50-pointers this weekend. Big races. The Tampa Bay Derby, the Gotham, and the San Felipe are going to be the 3 that we're going to feature. So stay tuned right here. We're going to do a quick recap of last week, so hold on to that. All right, to the recap, Johnny, of last week. Essential Quality, Greatest Honor were 2 of the big winners there. There was another one you mentioned, too. Give us a quick recap of last week.
Yeah, so in the last episode, I don't know what I was thinking. I should have looked. I know Cafe Pharaoh, the Japanese horse, we were talking about the Japanese trail. Clearly, he's a 4-year-old. He's not running in any 3-year-old races this year. The horse on the leaderboard out there is La Perouse. He's a Sunday Silence line out of an Empire Maker broodmare. I don't know how things are going to shake out there, to be honest with you, but hopefully they send a horse over here. The European horse right now is Highland Avenue. I don't know if he's headed towards the Kentucky Derby, but he's the leader in points in the European Road to the Derby, so that's a couple little side notes. Essential Quality won in the slop at Oaklawn. Looks really impressive. Our pick, Jackie's Warrior, isn't built for 2 turns. He's gonna look at the Pate Mile going 1 turn at Churchill, and I don't know. Spielberg ran a pretty big second place. I think he surprised some people. He really dug in there. Greatest Honor won the Fountain of Youth. He beat Drain the Clock in Papatoo. Our pick, Prime Factor, checked pretty hard in the turn and tossed in the towel. They might need to push the reset button or something with that horse. I'm not really sure what's going on. His works were a little suspicious going into the race, and he kind of ran like it. With that being said, there was one more race we didn't actually cover. Hush of a Storm won that race. It was at Turfway Park. It was a 10-point race. It's interesting because there's going to be another race at Turfway Park for 100 points, and somebody off the synthetic track there is going to end up in the Derby gates, possibly 2 horses maybe, so might be something to keep an eye on. I don't know if he's going to be any factor in the Derby, but he could be headed to the gate.
Yeah, Johnny, I mean, some big races there. I mean, Greatest Honor, I guess, for me, was the most appealing to the eye. I mean, this horse did come back, wasn't sure, but, I mean, it's got a good turn of foot down the stretch. Essential Quality did nothing wrong either, right on the trail. What did you get out of this past weekend? Is there one that caught your eye more than any others?
It's just the same stuff. I think that Greatest Honor's race, he was running... his competition is just... I don't think it's the real deal. And going a mile and a 16th, he dug in deep, though. Obviously, there's something to be said for that. At the turn, it didn't look like he was going to win the race, and he came in and he got the job done. I just don't like his breeding at a mile and a quarter. I know a lot of people are looking forward for him to stretch out, and they say that, it takes him a mile to get going. I'm just going to bet against Tappets in the Derby all day. Being 0 for 11 in the Derby is a sire. He's 1 for 27 in Grade 1 2-turn mile-and-a-quarter races. Essential Quality and Greatest Honor will not be my pick for the Derby. I don't care what they do between here and there.
You heard it here, Johnny. I mean, you're always against the Tappet. Both the horses are impressive, and they're going to take a lot of money going forward, Johnny.
Well, speaking of which, the Kentucky Derby Futures Pool is coming up, Futures Pool number 4. And the horse that's the morning line favorite is Essential Quality, actually. It's 7-2, which it's making I'm licking my chops looking at that because I know that there's going to be another horse that's going to get overlooked. And we'll go more into that later, but people love to bet the Tappets. It's a horse that I think has a lot of appeal. He gets the best broodmares, and those horses win the mile and a 16th and win the mile and an 8th races. They do really well in the Belmont and the mile and a half. So it's just that mile and a quarter, 2-turn distance is just not friendly to the bloodline. I mean, you look at the Breeders' Cup Classics. The last horse out of the entire bloodline to win a Breeders' Cup Classic was AP Indy in the early '90s. California Chrome and Orb were both kind of off the line a little bit. Orb was by Malibu Moon, Chrome, Lucky Pulpit. They won them back-to-back years, but other than that, you'd have to go back to Swale to find another horse that won a Kentucky Derby with those bloodlines. So I'm just going to play against them. Obviously, the no Lasix thing might change how things work this year. We'll see, but I'm just going to stick with the tried and true and see what happens.
Yeah, good little recap there, Johnny. All right, enough of the small talk. Let's get to the races. That's why everyone's here. Let's talk the 3 big races. Let's start off with the Tampa Bay Derby. Johnny, this is going to be a grade 2 down at Tampa Bay. What do you think? Let's get right to it. Let's take a look at the field.
Well, this is definitely a win and you're in race. So this is a race that we have to pay attention to. One of these horses is going to be in the race for sure. The race is a big field. We've got 12 horses going to go into the starting gate here. Going to go a mile and a 16th, and it looks like there might be some sneaky competition in here. Candyman Rocket was our horse for the Sam F. Davis. He did the job. He won by a length. It wasn't a terrible field there. I think that field's going to go up a notch here. But with that being said, I don't think it's an overwhelming quality field. It's definitely not as deep as the San Felipe, which we're going to go over later. But just taking a look, we've got the one horse, My Liberty, is by Tapizar out of a flatter mare, Liberty Lunch. Don't see a whole lot here. Broke its mid last time at Tampa, 1 turn, 7 furlongs. It's going to be a huge, huge step up to see that horse come in and win. The 2 horse Super Strong is by Super Saver out of Strikingly Beautiful, who's by Smart Strike. This horse actually won a grade 1 race already. It was in Puerto Rico in its debut. Won by 2.5. Very nice run. Safi Joseph and Sonata Stable have taken the horses off of Raimundo Morales' hands. I really don't know where the horse is going to stack up in this kind of competition. It's a little bit overly inbred for me with the Raise a Native line. I'm not sure how much he's going to really like the 2 turns, but I guess we'll see. 1 in the slop in case it rains. I mean, that's something to keep an eye on.
A good opportunity for that. I was just about to say that, the Super Saver there, but a good chance for rain on Saturday too, Johnny, so good point there.
Yeah, and then we've got the Candyman Rocket, the number 3 post. Horse probably he's got a bullet in his last work since that last race that he had, and I think he's gonna take the same tactics. For me, at 2-1 in a 12 horse field, it's kind of iffy if I really want to hop in there, but I think the horse has a huge edge over this field. He's kind of the standout. He's the horse I think we're expecting to win, and he would be the only Derby threat really if he did win the race. Number 4, King of Dreams, is by Air Force Blue out of Cabbage Key, who's by AP Indy. The horse won a turf race, not surprisingly, last time out to break its maiden. Might do okay in the mud, though. This might be an okay mud breeding if it's a fast track. I don't give too much to it. The 5 horse Boca Boy is by Perspective. Perspective is by Malibu Moon. This horse is out of Ballywink, who's by Gimme a Wink. Last time out in the Sam F. Davis, ran 4th by 4 lengths. We'll definitely have to improve, but the horse was a pace setter, did some heavy lifting early. Just keep an eye on how the track's playing to see maybe if it's speed favoring track might have a chance to hang in there a little bit longer. Awesome Jerry by Liam's Map out of Star of Munster by Tribal Rule is going to be the 6 horse. 7 by 17 lengths in the Holy Bull last time. Obviously something went awry there. With a Liam's Map on top, I don't really expect the horse to want 2 turns too bad, so I might look past this horse, even though he at 15-1 morning line, I'd expect him to get some decent play from there. Moonlight Strike, the 7 horses by Liam's Map out of Twinkling by War Chant. This horse ran 4th in the Smarty Jones by 17 3/4 lengths, just outmatched by Cotto River and Cohen, who came back to run a nice second out in Saudi Arabia, I believe.
There you go.
I'm not really feeling this horse too much with the Liam's Map on top, but and it's going to have to make a really, really significant improvement if he expects to take this one down. Hidden Stash, the 8 horse with Bejarano aboard, is by Constitution out of Making Mark Money, which I love that broodmare's name, by the way, by Smart Strike. This horse right here has been working pretty well and ran a nice 3rd in the Sam F. Davis. I think this is one we might have to give some consideration to underneath at 4-1. We've got Unbridled Honor, the 9 horse. Unbridled Honors by Honor Code out of Unbridled Song. Mile and 16th, not sure, might be a little bit short. I think this horse might want a mile and an eighth, but did win its maiden last time out at Tampa, going a mile and 40 yards. Could be a horse to keep your eye on at 20-1. I think it definitely has a chance to improve. Helium by Ironicus, who's by Distorted Humor, out of Thundering Amelia by Thunder Gulch, is going to be the 10 horse. A little bit too much inbreeding for me, and the horse has won 2 races at Woodbine, both 7 furlongs. Cass is bringing it in, giving it a shot, see if it can stretch out. At 6-1, I don't think it's going to take my money. And then we've got Promise Keeper, the 11 horse, who's by Constitution, out of Mira Alta, who's by Curlin. This horse won in the slop last out by 5 lengths. Been working really well. This was actually the horse that I believe was working with Prime Factor that was beating that horse in the workout. So I think this horse is on the upswing at 8-1. I think this is the other Pletcher horse that I would definitely take a look at. And to round out the field, the 12 Sitting on Go. Rear runner, looks like it's going to be going pretty wide into these turns by Brody's Cause. Out of Setting on Ready by More Than Ready. Ran 6th by 17 lengths in the Holy Bull last out. And it's going to have to show significant improvement, I think, to keep up with the likes of these.
Yeah, good rundown, Johnny. Getting right through the list there. I'm just going to add a couple notes, and then I'm going to ask you your top choice. I think I kind of figured it already out. But Candyman Rocket, I agree with you. Won 2 in a row, including a win at Tampa Bay on the track. So you like to see that. Alvarado, great combo. Working fast and coming into the race, looks fired and ready to go. Definitely the horse to beat here. Hidden Stash, I agree with you, Johnny. 3rd in its last, closing 2nd off the bench. You got Victoria Oliver. Bejarano's aboard. 2 for 2 on top of the horse there, Johnny, so you got to like that. Promise Keeper is the other one. The 11 horse, I have him marked down. Constitution Sire, pretty hot right now. Pletcher, this horse could be up front in the speed. One, at Gulfstream on the sloppy track, so pay attention to that maybe if it is wet. The Dam, 31% on 16 starts, Johnny, so pretty strong numbers there for the 11 Promise Keeper at 8-1. Just a couple little notes there, but I want to know who you like, Johnny, in this race. Give me your top 3 or your top pick, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so Candyman Rocket obviously is the horse to beat in this race. He's working really well. Ran big his last couple races. I'm gonna stick with him because if he does move forward into the Derby, I think that he fits the profile for the mile and a quarter really well. And then I have 3 other horses. The 8 Hidden Stash, I think, is going to give them a pretty good run for their money. This Victoria Oliver trained horse has showed a little bit of interest running of late. Won 2 of the last 3. That last race it ran was off of a long layoff. I expect the horse to move forward from that, working really well out of that race. The 9 Unbridled Honor at 20-1, I think, is going to be my long shot. I think this horse has a great chance at improving off that last race where he was on Lasix. I've been seeing these horses that have ran on Lasix come back in their next race and still run pretty well, so that's a good sign. And then the 11 Promise Keeper, I think that's going to be my other horse in here that I think at 8-1 might not be a bad play.
There you go. Quick look at the Tampa Bay Derby, Lowell. Let's keep moving along. Let's get right to the Gotham, Johnny. Grade 3. We got a mile at Aqueduct. We got a nice little field here. 50 points to the winner. Let's take a look at the field.
Yeah, so the Gotham here is going to be a 1-turn mile. Interestingly enough, I think this might come down to be a 2-horse race on paper, possibly 3. But with that being said, you never know, and it is a field of 8 horses, so it's got a nice bit of entries in here. The 1-horse Atlantic Road by Quality Road out of Smart and Special. I think this horse has plenty of inbreeding for the 1-turn. Won its last race was a maiden special weight race at Aqueduct, going 7 furlongs. Off of that race, I think it's going to have to improve significantly to compete with these horses. The Reds by Tunnelist out of Ash Z, who's by Exchange Rate. This horse has some experience, 5 races under their belt. One last time out, going a mile and an eighth at Aqueduct, but I think this might be a little steeper company than that. Highly Motivated. This horse is 8-5 morning line. Chad Brown trained. Horses by Into Mischief. Into Mischief has had 2 winners in the Gotham. He's had Mischievous Alex and Vijak who have won the race. So right there it tells you Into Mischief loves this 1-turn mile race. Has progeny do anyway. The horse is out of Strong Incentive by Warrior's Reward. Last time this horse ran, won by 4 1/4 lengths in the Nyquist at Keeneland. But that was back in November. The horse has been working forwardly since then. But I think that is somewhat of a disadvantage coming off of a layoff that long against horses that have been running. Wiped the slate for Doug O'Neill here. He's by Nyquist. Out of Fancy and Flashy, who's by Sensational. They're taking the blinkers off here after a failed attempt with the blinkers in the Robert Beverly Lewis last time out, where he ran 6 by 20 lengths. But that race has come back pretty well. Spielberg came out of that race. He ran 4th, and he came back to run 2nd in the Southwest. So we'll see what happens. He's shipping him out there. I think this horse is a one-turn horse. He ran really well at 7 furlongs. Crowded Trade, who's by More Than Ready out of Mod S, showed a little bit of interest in his debut, winning by a length at Aqueduct, going 6 furlongs. I think the mile should hit this horse right in the mitt, based on his breeding. He could be a horse that gives a little bit of a run. Capo Cane is a horse that's got more graded stakes experience than the rest of these horses, with a nice little third in the Withers, well, stakes experience, I guess. And he won the Jerome by 6 1/4. He's been running on this track pretty well. I think he wants this one turn, the mile especially, by Street Sense out of Twirlin' Me, who's by Hard Spun. He does have breeding to go further, but his running style kind of seems like it's a one-turn type. And then you have the 7 Freedom Fighter, who's by Violence, out of Canadian Ballet, who's by City Zip. This horse just ran 2nd to Concert Tour, and not only did it run 2nd, it ran 2nd by half a length, going 7 furlongs, and it battled all the way to the wire. This horse looks very, very formidable, and it's had some bullet workouts since that race. And then 8 Wayburn, who's by Pioneer of the Nile, out of Sunday Affairs by AP&D. Just broke its maiden last time out in December, going 7 furlongs at Aqueduct.
Yeah, Johnny, I mean, taking a look at it, it looks like a pretty interesting field, I got to tell you. You got a couple brown horses. Baffert's got a horse there. Brown's got a couple. Pletcher. A nice little mix of horses here in the Gotham. Highly Motivated was one that I took a look at. Like you said, won by 4 lengths, in the Nyquist. Off since the fall would be the only question, like you mentioned. Good workouts in the patterns, good workout times, looks good. I was looking at the Dam Strong Incentive. Very strong, 57% win on dirt sprints, Johnny, so something maybe to keep an eye out on. Also, Capo Cane, like you said, going from the 1.8 to the mile could work here. I expect this horse to maybe be speed and up front. Maybe it could work out here for this trainer. Won Aqueduct before. And then Freedom Fighter, anytime Bob Baffert's sending out a horse, you got to pay attention a little bit here. 2nd in the San Vicente last time out. First race off the bench, 94 buyer. Lost the Concert Tour, Johnny. I know that's your horse, only by a half length. So you got to think that horse is going to be pretty high up if you like Concert Tour. And then the other one, Crowded Trade, other brown horse, only 1 career start. I guess that's the thing. It broke its maiden at Aqueduct and looked to be closing, Johnny. It looks like there could be a lot of speed in here. So I can maybe see Crowded Trade, if this horse can make a big jump, maybe to pick up the pieces. Just a little inside for me, but I also want to know who you like here in the race and who's going to be your top pick.
Yeah, so my top pick's going to go to Freedom Fighter. There was a Medaglia d'Oro line horse that's won this race already, so there is a little precedent for it. Violence is by Medaglia d'Oro, who's Violence is the sire of Freedom Fighter. It's just the way he's been working in that race that he ran at Santa Anita. This horse, to me, even with all the speed in the race, he just looks like Freedom Fighter is what's going to happen out there. I fully expect him to come out swinging, and if anybody wants to be on a suicide mission with him, you could probably go to the front and see what happens. From there, I think I'm going to take Crowded Trade as my horse underneath at 9-2. Just looks really, really appealing. I'm sure he had plenty of trouble in his last race, and if the pace setup is the way it looks, he might have the upper advantage. High Cole ran this race against some really good horses, and they went blazing fractions, and he ran them down. I think it might be similar style. And then for my third place horse, I think Highly Motivated and Capo Cane are going to be they're about in the same boat for me. I think that obviously Highly Motivated is a a horse that people are looking forward to seeing come back. But we just don't know how they're going to be as a 3-year-old off their 2-year-old performances. Did they move forward? Did they regress? Is he going to need a race? I'm not really sure. But I do know Capo Cane has been running a lot. He's in really good form, and he should show up as well. So I think between those 4 horses, you've got the race covered. Wipe the slate for O'Neill. I think I'm just going to have to lay off that horse with the equipment change. And just hopefully he's not the one-turn monster that he looked like in his 7 furlong maiden breaking win.
Yeah, good point. I was going to say O'Neill sending the horse out east, so thinking something nice about Wipe the Slate. The only one we didn't really mention in the first segment there. But I agree, the only one I might mention, but I'm with you. Capo Cane, Freedom Fighter, and Crowded Trade. I do like Highly Motivated a little bit, too, to come back. But I think it's going to be a great race. And, do you see the winner out of this race being the top contender in the Derby, Johnny?
No.
There you go. Let's move on to the next then. The San Felipe Grade 2. We're going to move on to that. That's out at Santa Anita on the West Coast. Long video here, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and staying with us. Hit that like, subscribe, follow us. We're talking Derby, episode number 7. All right, should we get to it? All right, Johnny, let's get to the San Felipe. We're going out to the West Coast. Santa Anita, baby. Grade 2 here. This is 1 mile and a 16th. 300K. Let's get to it. Let's look at the field.
Yeah, so this is going to be the shortest field going this weekend. It's going to be 7 horses. But I feel like it's the most compact with talent. These horses could be the real deal. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a Derby winner come out of this race. At 1 mile and a 16th, it's going to be interesting. I feel like it's kind of a catch weight. The horses that can run a mile might be able to get the mile and a 16th. The horses that won 1 mile and an 8th or more, they might be able to get the mile and a 16th. So it's an interesting distance for me. The horse on the rail, Life is Good, who's just the speed of the field. I'll make this prediction. He's going to the front. He's by Into Mischief. He's out of Beach Walk, who's by Distorted Humor. Just lightning fast. Every time he hits a track, he just sets incredible fractions. The question is he going to be around at the end of the race? His last race, he won by 3/4 lengths to Medina Spirit, but people were saying, he got tired and he threw in the towel. He couldn't. If it would have been 10 more yards, he would have lost. Then there's other people that said, well, he didn't get past on the gallop out. I guess we're going to see right now if he really wants that mile and 16th. I do think that having that race under his belt did give him some fitness and should help him get there this time as well. So we'll see what happens. That was back in January. He might have matured and filled out since then. At 4 to 5, I'm sure he's going to be heavily played, and he's a lot of people's bet for the Kentucky Derby futures as well. The 2-horse Dream Shake, 5 to 1 morning line by Twirling Candy, out of Even Song, who's by Street Cry. This horse ran a huge 96 Beyer figure in his debut, won by 4 3/4 lengths. His pedigree tells me he doesn't want anything to do with 2 turns. I'm hoping he takes some money. I'm probably gonna stay away from this horse. The 3 Medina Spirit, who's by Pritanico, out of Mongolian Changa, who's by Brilliant Speed. This horse has just been running so well. He won the Robert Beverly Lewis by a neck, just a gutsy performance. Went out the lead and held on. He's come back and fired a couple bullets since then. He's going to be a formidable opponent. I think this is a horse to keep an eye on. None Above the Law for Peter Miller here. He's by Caraconti, out of Legally Blanca, who's by Northern Afleet. His horse ran second in the Cal Cup Derby last time out. This is a huge step up in class for him. The Great One by Nyquist, out of Little Miss Protocol by El Corredor. This horse just broke his maiden by 14 lengths. The time before that, ran second by a nose to Spielberg in the Los Al Futurity. This is a horse that people are. I'm hearing a lot of talk about this horse and his abilities. Moving forward, we'll see what happens. The 6 Governor's Party, who's by Governor Charlie, out of Spring Moon, who's by Sensational. This horse just ran 3rd in the El Camino to Rombauer and our filly Javanica. I know. I think this horse is bred for sprints. I guess they're going to keep routing it. We'll see what happens here. And then the 7-horse Roman Centurion. Roman Centurion's by Empire Maker, out of Spare Change by Bernardini. This is the horse that we gave out in the Robert Beverly Lewis at 11 to 1 that lost by a neck, but there was a little bit of glimmers of hope going down the lane that he was going to make that big move.
Oh man, I thought we had it, Johnny. We were right there.
Yeah, that was a nail biter to the finish. Medina Spirit held on by a neck. Roman Centurion was a nose in front of Hot Rod Charlie. I mean, that was an excellent race.
Yeah, man, good stuff there. You know, Johnny, the San Felipe field, I agree with you. This is definitely one of the best fields, I think, of the day that we're looking at. A compact field, Roman Centurion, like you said, second in the RB Lewis, just missing. This is a $550,000 purchase at the Keeneland September sale, so definitely some good pedigree there. Life is good. 4 to 5 is short price, but you do get Mike Smith aboard into Mischief, like you said. Windstar Stable, China Horse Club. There's a lot of stuff to like about this horse. Life is good, but at 4 to 5, Bob Baffert again. 2 for 2. What could you say bad about him? Medina Spirit, what I like about this one, Johnny, you get Johnny V back aboard. Bob Baffert does train this one. And again about Bob Baffert. He's won this race 7 times, my friend. So there's a good reason why we're telling you these Baffert horses. The Great One also broke its maiden 14 lengths. Doug O'Neill. I think Doug O'Neill's kind of sneaky. I expect him to get back on track here second part of the year, Johnny. So I like it a little bit. And then Dream Shake, you mentioned you don't like it. Peter Urton, close fast last time out, but I'm going to jump with you. Twirl and Candy might want to be a speed horse, so I agree with you there. Just a little rundown, but let's get to your picks. Who are we going to go with?
I'm gonna try to be Mr. Consistent here. I'm gonna stick with Roman Centurion on top.
All right.
I think the pace is gonna set up really well for him. The Great One's gonna want to go out there. Medina Spirit's gonna go right behind Life is Good. Life is Good's gonna go out there, and then from there, I think I'm gonna take Medina Spirit. He just has that extra race under his belt. A little bit of extra fitness might get him home in this one. And then Life is Good. I can't see that horse throwing in a clunker. I think those are going to be your top 3 again in this race. And it should be a really good race. I really look forward to it. If Life is Good goes out and crushes here, he's probably going to be heavily favored in the Kentucky Futures Pool this weekend that closes on Sunday, I believe. If he doesn't, it could be wide open at that point. So that's really something to keep an eye on. And also the fact that Johnny V comes out to ride Medina Spirit, that's got to say something. Him and Baffert obviously teamed up last year to win the September rendition with Authentic, but it says something to come out and ride that race. He's got Coastal Defense in the big cap, but I think the real reason why he's coming out here is for Medina Spirit.
Yeah, I agree, Johnny. You know, the real deal, making the move, trip out west. So I like it. Let's talk about the future pools. We got the future pools, like you said, coming up this weekend. Do you have 1 or 2 horses there? Has anything changed since last time? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so this round of the futures pool, I think that I'm going to keep Concert Tour on top. The only thing that I worry about with Concert Tour and his breeding is his femline. They just haven't produced anything, and it's all blue type. I like to see a couple black type broodmares in there. I like to see a heavy hitter get dropped out of somebody, but you know what? I'm going to stick with him. I think the fact that he beat Freedom Fighter going the 7 furlongs and a horse that's bred to sprint and looks like a sprinter and beat him at his best distance, he should stretch out. We're going to see next weekend in the Rebel if he can run with the likes of Cotto River and Keep Me in Mind and possibly Get Her Number. I've heard some rumblings about that one as well. For my second slot, I think I'm going to have Roman Centurion. I think I'm going to have him underneath. If he wins this race going forward, I think he's like 50 to 1 morning line in the futures. It might not be a bad bet. And then underneath that, I'm going to go with Candyman Rocket, and hopefully he wins that Tampa Bay Derby. Really, the key is you just want to have horses in that starting gate with big prices where you've already bet money early, so you can just back yourself up on Kentucky Derby Day, and hopefully you've got 4 or 5 seats planted in the gate. Midnight Bourbon is also going to be in the futures pool as well. I wouldn't totally give up on that horse yet, but if he matures and he gets a few more points, he'll be in the gate too. So hopefully looking towards the future. Prime Factor, we might scratch him off. Might have been chalk that up to a loss there. But with Concert Tour, Midnight Bourbon, Candyman Rocket, and possibly Roman Centurion, we might have a few shots going into the gate.
There we go. I like it. Futures, we're talking about Derby Futures closes on Sunday, opens up on Friday, so get in on the action. Good point, Johnny. You want your horse to be in the gate, and if you got that future at a big price, you are more excited than ever on Derby Day because you could always hedge yourself. You could always hedge if you have to. So you're watching The Hip Horse, Tommy D, Johnny Lowe. This is Derby Talk, episode number 7. Hit that like, subscribe, follow us. We're on the Derby trail. Anything else you got for me, Johnny?
Let's go, baby. Big
All right.
weekend. Big week.